Hi there and welcome to Hyundai Power Equipment. My name's Adrian and today we're going to do a troubleshooting guide on loss of drive on self-propelled lawnmowers. Okay, let's go straight to step one then, shall we? So the first thing we're going to look at is the drive engagement handle and its associated cable. Now first of all we'll inspect the handle is okay and operating correctly. The next thing to do is look at the cable that goes from the rear handle all the way down into the gearbox of the mower. Now we're looking for any bends, kinks or anything like that, or any serious damage to the cable, just because, you know, if you find a big bend or a kink in it, something like that where it's got trapped when you've bent the handle down for storage, then that could well be the cause of your problem. This cable looks fine. The next thing we're going to look at is the free play in this cable that attaches to the drive handle. Now there should be just a small amount of free play in it, but certainly not so much play that you have to pull this handle more than, a few millimeters before it starts actually pulling on the cable and actuating the gearbox. So this one's got quite a bit of slack in it. It could be adjusted a little bit. This here is the adjustment point, and basically by unscrewing the two halves of this and making it expanding or contracting, we lengthen the sleeve, which has the effect of shortening the cable. So I've got a little bit of play there. In fact, this is a fairly new mower, so it's not too bad at all actually. I'm going to loosen this joint here, just unscrew them with my fingers. There we are. Now that's just about right. There's a little bit of free play, but it starts pulling the cable the second I start lifting the handle, so that would be the correct spot. So then we do up the lock nut in the center. So the lock nut is the thinnest one of the three, and tighten it against the lower, larger hexagon shape, the lower nut. So that's locked off nice and securely there. Tuck it back into place, and that's the cable adjusted. Once you've adjusted the cable, if you still have no drive, the next thing to look at is the drive belt itself, and we shall do that next. Should you have a mower with the 3-speed gearbox, such as the 51 SPE, the setup of the belt is slightly different, and we're going to show you a video of this at a later date. So what we're going to do is look at the tension of the drive belt and its condition. I mean, if it's all torn up or broken or jumped off the pulleys, then obviously that needs sorting out. But if it's slack, that also needs sorting out. Now, as you can see, I've laid the mower up onto its side. Now, I recommend that you drain all fluids before you do this. So make sure there's no petrol in it and drain the engine oil. If you're doing it as part of a normal service, that would be a good time to give it an oil change as well. So drain the engine oil and the fuel first so we don't get any leaks and make a mess everywhere. Right, wearing suitable gloves, health and safety and all that, because I'm going to be grabbing hold of this blade. What we're going to do is loosen the bolt in the blade and remove the blade. Now, before we do that, because there's a possibility that there may be a little bit of engine oil left in the engine, and there may be a little bit of fuel left in the carburetor, and I rotate this. If for whatever reason something's pushed the lever on the handle and I haven't noticed it, when I rotate this I could inadvertently start the engine. So what I'm going to do, pull the spark plug off. So now no matter what I do with this, there's no way the engine's going to start without a spark. So again, another health and safety tip. So I can hold the blade. I've got a 17mm socket here. A 17mm spanner would do the job just as well. And we're going to undo the bolt in the centre of the blade by turning it, there we go, anti-clockwise. So having loosened it off, remove the bolt and the blade. Okay, when you come to replace the blade, you'll see that it's dished downwards towards the grass. So when you come to put it back on, remember it doesn't go that way, dished up towards the mower. It goes dished downwards towards the grass and sits on those two lugs. There's just a little tip there. Okay, I'll put that to one side. Next thing I'm going to do is put up the drive coupling and its spacer. So when you put the drive coupling back on, you'll see a little keyway. Put it on, rotate until it picks up the key, and then it'll just slip back on. But make sure you don't lose the spacer or it'll go too deep. So that's that removed. So the next thing to do is to remove this plastic guard here. Now to do that, we've got two bolts, one here and one here, and a Phillips headed screw here. So we're going to undo those three, and then you can see exactly what's going on with the belt. Everything's easy for you to see. So an 8mm socket I've got here, but you could do it, probably an 8mm socket would be the best way because it's down in the hole. But you could as easily do it with a spanner as well. In fact, if you have got the spanner, what you'll find is that the nuts on the top will rotate. So you actually have to hold the nut on the top of the spanner while I'm doing this side. Okay. There we are, that's one out. We'll just put the little nut back on, put it to one side and do the lower one. Again, anti-clockwise. It's actually a 10mm spanner on the top ones. So holding the nut on the top, undo the bolt. There we are, there's the nut and bolt. And just put those back together so we know where they are. That's the two bolts removed. Here is a Phillips screw which just holds the back in. So crosshead screwdriver and undo the screw. Completely remove this screw. And the cover can be removed, revealing the belt. Now as you can see, here's the belt. So the first thing we're going to do is examine the belt carefully, looking for any breaks, cuts or what have you. Now this belt is actually on its pulleys, which is a good thing, which means that the belt sits in the groove in this pulley, and that the white pulley at the back here, you can see quite clearly it's sat in the groove there as well. Now this belt is in very good condition. I think it's fairly new mower, hasn't had much use. We did clean it up so that it looks nice for you to see on camera, but yeah, that is way too loose. Problem with that is when the engine's rotating and you engage drive, it could easily be slipping on these pulleys, but there's a lot of spare room in that pulley. What I'm looking for is this sort of, using my index finger, this sort of amount, not this sort of amount, if you can see what I mean. I'm looking at sort of that sort of amount, not this much. So this belt clearly needs adjustment. So we've examined the belt, we know the belt's in good order, we know it's on its pulleys, and now we're going to adjust the belt. This bolt here is for belt adjustment. So what we need to do is to loosen off its little lock nut at the bottom and screw it in until we reach the desired tension. So I'll just do that. Loosen off the nut at the bottom. There we go, that's loose. And screw it a few turns. And what I'm looking for is just sort of 4 or 5 millimeters of, what's it? Oh, I can see the belt coming already. A little bit more maybe. And a little bit more. Now that's probably about it. Oops, another little bit. We don't want it over tight, you know. You can hear a good tension in that belt now, and it will deflect sort of 6 or 7mm. That would be about perfect. Having adjusted it, we'll wind the lock nut back down. Tighten up the lock nut against the base, and that would be a belt fitted just about right. So that's tension in the belt. So obviously we put the guards back on and we try it all again. If you do need a new belt, all you have to do is ring our parts department, and it's 01646 687880, and then follow the options. Okay, so having tensioned the belt up, the next thing we would do is try it again. If the belt has completely jumped off, I mean, it can happen if a stick or branch jams up underneath it or whatever while you're mowing, and it can throw the belt off its pulley, and it might simply want putting back on. Then all you need to do is remove the guard and everything as I've just shown. Loosen the adjustment right off, completely off, take the screw out altogether if you like, and then you've got plenty of movement on the gearbox, and then you can simply fit the belt over the rear pulley and back over the front pulley. I'll demonstrate that for you now. So let's loosen the lock now, and I'll take the adjustment screw back out again so that we've got plenty of slack. As you can see, it's going really slack. Take the screw right out. I haven't got to take it right out, but very nearly would be fine. Right. As you can see, I've removed the belt. Sometimes you might want to remove the belt completely yourself to give it a good examination, but this belt is in perfect order. Again, as I said, you can ring our parts department if you need a replacement belt. So to replace the belt, having loosened it all off, you simply thread it around the rear pulley. First of all, there we are. We know that's there. I can see it turning. Back around the front pulley and into the groove. And again, readjust it by putting the adjusting bolt back in and screw it up until it requires or gets to the required tension. A little bit more than that. That would be about perfect. And don't forget to tighten up the lock nut. So that's belt replacement, examination of the belt, refitting a belt that's come off, refitting a new belt. And the next thing to do, once we know all these things are perfect, is to try it out again. Put everything back together and try your drive again. When you come to put it back together, simply the reverse of the way you took it apart. Replace the covers back into the groove. There we are, nicely located. Back in with the two bolts, back in with the screw, back on with the blade, exactly as in the reverse method of the way you took it off. And try the drive again. Should you still have no drive, then I would suspect that it's the gearbox itself has got something sheared in it. If that's the case, ring our after sales department. That would be 01646 68 78 80. Okay, just to recap, we've checked the condition of the clutch cable, we've checked the tension of the cable for the drive, found it all to be good and readjusted it. We've checked that the belt is in position, not broken, in good condition and at the correct tension. Having done all this, your drive should be restored. If you find that you still haven't got any drive with a self-propulsion, then I would suspect that it's the gearbox itself and it's a little bit more serious than adjustment or maintenance. If this is the case, you can visit Hyundai Power Equipment or call us on 01646 68 78 80 and you can talk to our after sales department. I believe it's option 3. Okay, but having restored your drive, having done all the usual things, I've been Adrian and happy mowing.